Hello everyone, and welcome to Math 1324, Math for Business and Social Sciences for Summer 2. My name's Terry Barnes, and I'll be helping you through this really quick journey of our course. I wanted to take this orientation video time to go over the course, what's involved, how it's set up, and what the expectations are. So let's go look at all parts of the course. So here is where the announcements will be, and there's a few up already. One of them is really important. This is about a state and college policy that you have to be in the grade book and have started an assignment by Thursday at 10 a.m. If that's not the case, you have to be dropped from the course. So it's simple to go in and do that, do at least one problem, and that keeps you off that list, so be sure you do that. But I will be putting announcements at least every week, if not any other time that I think I need to share something with you. So be sure you check your announcements. Also be sure you check your email in case I'm emailing you. Over here is the content browser, and I have put the things that you really need right here so you don't have to go hunting for them. This is where everything should be. Then up here, the only other thing is you can get to your homework and tests here. You can look at your grades here. So those are two areas that are not included here. So let's start by going through the content and looking at everything. So instructor plan is the syllabus. Let's look at that. So first thing to note here is my contact information. That's my office phone. While I'm not in the office over the summer, if you felt the need to call, you could call, leave a voicemail, and it will come to me via email. So that could happen. Otherwise, if you need me, you're just going to email me and we'll set up anything that we need to do. Required text, your course is offered inclusive access. That means you purchased the electronic book when you paid your tuition, so you don't have to have a hard copy book. You do need a graphing calculator. I teach with an 84. If you have another calculator that you're familiar with and that it works and does everything that we do, you're welcome to use that. So it's up to you, but this is what, if I show something on the calculator, it would be an 84, actually a newer version than this. We'll go down to here. This course attendance participation is important. You cannot miss more than 25% of assigned work for an online course. And the way I handle attendance is you must work on something every week to be counted present for that week. So that doesn't take much to stay off the absent list. Work on something and you'll be present. If you don't do it, you will get an email saying you didn't do any work, and so you've got an absence for that week. You're allowed 2 such absences in the Summer 2 session. After that, on a third one, you could be dropped for attendance issues. So just be sure you're working on something every week, which is what you need to do to be successful anyway. Here is the calendar. And you'll note there's no due dates on the calendar. That is because everything is available day 1 and ultimately due the last day of the course. So this is a suggestion. Start here in week 1 and do stuff every week, maybe separate it however works for you. If one week you don't have much to do and you get a lot done all the way through, say, exam 3 and 4, great. You just have to work on one little thing the next week, maybe take a little break, whatever you need to do. So it is self-paced in that respect, but you do have responsibility of doing something every week. Okay, course grading. There's a homework assignment for each section, and homework counts 30% of your total average. Tests, there's 5 tests and a comprehensive final. The final doesn't count in the test average, it counts down here. But tests are 50% of your average. Before each test is available, you have to have passed all the homework items with at least a 70. If you don't do that, the test is not going to even open. So be sure that you remember that. Final exam, a cumulative final exam will count 20% of your final average. And I think that's it. Here's a thing about my attendance policy, and I've already talked about it. It's based on participation. You must work each week, either on homework or test. If you don't do any work in a week, that's an absence, and you're allowed 2. If you receive the 3rd, you could be dropped for attendance issues. So I think that covers the high points of this syllabus. So let's go look at the other things. Okay, the calendar is right here, but it is exactly what we looked at in the syllabus, so that's there. Contact info has that same information that was in the syllabus. Handouts. So if you go to handouts, there's some important things that might be helpful for you. The yellow packet is algebra information. It's what I use in my college algebra class. There's a lot of algebra that comes up in this course. So if there's anything in here that might be helpful, you know, you might go print that and have it while you're doing your homework or your test. Matrices. There is a sheet that's from that yellow packet, but you definitely could use this page when you're working on matrices in chapter 2. So we'll go back. So that's there. Then for chapter 3, there's some graphing things that you might need, and there's graph grids. There's also a chart for section 3.3. So if you'll see when I do that in the video, that's where you would get that. There's a linear programming form that you might need, and so be sure that you come check here for that. Formulas for chapter 7, Venn diagrams, z-scores table, I don't think you'll need that. Formulas for chapter 10 and chapter 10 additional notes. So that's all under handouts, and print or use anything that you need from there. Then this is the meat of the course: problem sets, lectures, videos. So if we click on that, you've got 3 areas. What I've done is do practice problems for each section. And we're going to go look at chapter 2, 2.1 problems. All right, so here's the practice problems, and we're going to look at the rest of that. So on this one, there are 7 questions, and the answers are included, but you know, you may, as particularly in this course, you may not know how to do things till we go over the lecture and the video. So this is what the practice problems look like, and they're to get you ready for the homework. We would be doing these in class if this were a face-to-face class. So let's go look at the lecture notes for this. All right, so we're back here and we went to lecture notes. Let's go to chapter 2 and go to section 2.1. And so the information is at the beginning. So solutions of linear systems, equivalent system, etc. And then how to do those problems and what the difference between. So you see that there's lecture notes. Then we get down to the problem set. This is what we looked at a minute ago, and we're solving them. So they're solved out here, and there's 7. There's 2 number 7s because I think in the homework it could be either of these kind. So I think I put an extra one in here. But anyway, you see they're all worked out. Now that may be enough for some people, but if you need more explanation, the video, let's go look at the video. Okay, so we've looked at a problem set, we've looked at the lecture notes. Here's my video lecture playlist. So I have a YouTube channel for every course that I teach, and that's where I create and put my playlist. So if we go here, so here's chapter 2 videos, it will take you to YouTube. And we're here. And evidently, I think this broke into two, so there's two pieces to that one. These are more on the calculator, so you can see I have my calculator emulator here, and so as I'm doing things, I'm showing you how to do it on the calculator. But this is the video that will go through the problem set and lecture notes for each section. So hopefully that will be enough to get you prepared. So the last two items here, and I'm not going to go through that, but e-text, if you need the book, I don't think you do, but if you want to go look at the book, it is right here. It will open in another window, and it's an electronic textbook that the course comes from. And then final exam review items, that when you get ready to prep for the final exam, you'll come here and there's a list of homework questions so that it focuses in on specific questions to help you get ready for the final. But now let's think about, you've been through 2.1, you've looked at the problem set, you've tried to work them, used the lecture notes, watched the video. So now you're ready for the homework. So we go up here to MML homework. And it all should come up. So there we go. Now first thing to note, the due date on every single thing is due by August 13th at 6 p.m. because I have to have grades in on the 14th that morning. So 8/13 at 6 p.m. That is not negotiable. So don't wait. Don't think, oh, can you give me an extension? That can't happen. So just be prepared. Now, everything is a clickable link. So here's 2.1. Remember, there were 7 practice questions. So most often, there'll be about the same number of questions that are in the practice. If we go to question 1, we're going to look here. And it says use the echelon method, which you will have practiced. You will know what to do. And if you come up with, okay, there's an ordered pair solution. Well, if you click in the box, down here are some icons that you may need. If you hit more, you get others. When you get to matrices, the matrices buttons are here, and you may need to click one of those to get to put in the answer here. So just remember, matrices are there, and if you need a fraction, an exponent, etc., everything's here. I'm going to get rid of those for now. All right, so this says it wants an ordered pair. I have no idea. I'm not looking at the question, so I don't know what it is, but I'm going to put 1, 1 and put my parentheses. You could go down here and choose this icon. It's for an ordered pair, and you have everything with it. All right, we're going to check that answer. All right, now it gives you it says it's not right and gives you some help to maybe go back and try it again. But we're not going to change it. I just want you to see what happens. So you get your second try. Okay, we're still wrong. Final check. We hit that. It says the correct answer was A, but it should be 2, 9. So that may help you, and you say, oh, I see what I did wrong, because you know what you put in there and what the correct answer should be. At this point, you can go on to the next question and come back and work on this another day. Or you could go ahead and say, all right, now I know what I'm doing. Let me hit similar question, and it regenerates different numbers. So that's how that works. You can have 3 tries, and then you can get a new question. No need to ever leave it where you don't get anything right. Now, if you have a question for me, and you're stuck and you don't know what to do, my preference of how, if this is on homework, how you ask the question would be to come here to get more help and do ask my instructor. And then it's going to send me your particular question so I know what you're trying to work with. And then you can write in here, this is what I've tried. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know how to do blah, blah, blah. And I'll know exactly what you are working on. So that's the best way, and it'll come straight to me. It'll have your name on it. and the particular question you're working on. And then you hit send, it goes right to me, and I can get back with you on your homework question. So I would like you to try other things, the problem set, the lecture note, the video. But if you get stuck, then that's where the easiest way to get me is right there. All right. I think that's that. The other thing, we're going to save that, and we're going to go back to here. All right, so say I worked on that, so I'm going to have a score here. I can see it, but I got to do all of these before I can take the Chapter 2 test. And it's reminding me here, it's saying you got to make a 70 on these. But I want you to note, Chapter 2 test, you have 2 tries. So you can take it the first time. If you do well, great, you don't have to take it a second time. But if you didn't do well, it's kind of like your review, and then you go over it. You can go to the grade book and review it there. And then you can take it a second time, and the higher of the 2 scores will count in your average. You have 2 hours on this test. Chapter 3 and 4 has some show work questions. You have to submit the work within the test, so be sure you do that. You have 150 minutes for that one, and again, 2 tries. For Chapter 7, back to 120 minutes. 8 and 9 is together. You have 120 minutes. You have 2 tries. Same thing for Chapter 10. And then the final exam, you have 150 minutes. You only have 1 shot at that, so you want to do that prep. You want to really study for that final. So the thing about 1324, it is not like a college algebra where you build and you learn and you go and you get the next step. You know, Chapter 2 is on linear stuff, matrices, that sort of thing. Chapter 3 and 4 is linear programming, maximizing. It's a little bit different. Chapter 7, we go into sets. Has nothing to do with the other. Chapter 8 and 9, we've got combinations, permutations, and some normal distribution stuff. And then Chapter 10 is algebra stuff, functions. So it's a little bit scattered, but I think I've got everything for you to get what you need, and I'm going to hope that we get through this and everybody is successful. I wish you luck.